the quiet landscapes where Amish communities flourish, one iconic structure often stands tall against the horizon: the farm windmill. It's more than just a picturesque landmark. It's a vital piece of working technology, a testament to enduring engineering principles. Alongside these windmills, various ingenious water pumps operate, often unseen, to provide the lifeblood of any farm, water. But these aren't just quaint relics. They are finely tuned machines, embodying engineering secrets that have allowed them to reliably serve communities for generations, entirely off the grid. Let's first look at the American multi-bladed windmill, a common sight on Amish farms. Its design is a masterclass in converting wind energy into mechanical work. The secret to its effectiveness lies in several key engineering aspects. The rotor, consisting of numerous curved blades or vanes, is designed for high torque and low to moderate winds, rather than high rotational speed. Unlike modern wind turbines built for electricity generation, these windmills need to start easily and provide consistent pumping power even in relatively light breezes. The curvature and angle of each blade are crucial. They act like airfoils, creating a pressure differential that causes the rotor to turn, typically made from galvanized steel for durability. These blades are arranged in a circular pattern, forming a large surface area to capture as much wind as possible. The rotor assembly is mounted atop a sturdy tower, usually made of steel lattice or sometimes wood. The tower's height is critical. It elevates the windmill above ground-level obstructions like trees and buildings to access stronger, more consistent winds. The open lattice design minimizes wind resistance on the tower itself, contributing to its stability. The heart of the windmill's mechanical conversion is the gearbox, or transmission, located in the nacelle or head of the windmill. This is where the magic of converting motion happens. The rotational movement of the blades drives a series of gears. These gears typically reduce the speed of rotation, but significantly increase the torque. More importantly, they convert the rotary motion into a reciprocating or up and down motion. This is achieved through a mechanism involving a pitman arm, similar to how a steam locomotive's wheels are driven by pistons. This up and down motion is then transferred to a long rod, called the pump rod or sucker rod, which extends down the tower and into the well. Perhaps one of the most ingenious engineering features of these windmills is the furling system. This is an automatic safety mechanism designed to protect the windmill from damage in high winds. Most American windmills use a tail vane to keep the rotor oriented into the wind for maximum power. However, a smaller, offset side vane or a carefully designed hinged tail system is also present. When wind speeds become dangerously high, the increased pressure on the rotor, or on this side vane, overcomes a weighted or spring-loaded mechanism. This causes the tail vane to fold, turning the entire rotor assembly sideways or out of the wind, presenting a much smaller profile to the strong gusts and preventing overspeeding and potential destruction. When the wind subsides, the system automatically resets, turning the rotor back into the wind. This passive self-regulation is a brilliant piece of engineering. The pump rod itself is a simple but vital component. It's a long steel or wooden rod that directly connects the windmill's gearbox to the piston in the water pump cylinder located down in the well. The quality of this rod and its connections is important for reliable, long-term operation. Amish communities often favor materials like galvanized steel for the blades and tower, and cast iron for the gearbox housing, prized for their longevity and resistance to the elements. While not always the absolute peak of aerodynamic efficiency by modern standards, these windmills are engineered for durability, reliability, and perhaps most importantly for the Amish, repairability with relatively simple tools and accessible parts. Now, let's explore the water pumps themselves, which are often, but not always, paired with windmills. The most common type found on Amish farms is the positive displacement piston pump. The core of this pump is the downhole cylinder, which is submerged below the static water level in the well. Inside this cylinder is a piston fitted with seals, traditionally made of leather, though modern synthetic seals are also used. As the windmill's pump rod, or a hand pump handle, lifts the piston, a partial vacuum is created below it. Atmospheric pressure on the surface of the well water then forces water up into the cylinder through a one-way foot valve at the bottom of the cylinder. On the downstroke, this foot valve closes, trapping the water in the cylinder. The water above the piston is then forced upwards through another one-way valve located in the piston itself. With each subsequent upstroke, the water above the piston is lifted further up the drop pipe, the pipe leading to the surface, while more water is drawn into the cylinder from the well. This cycle continues, steadily lifting columns of water to the surface. The precision of the cylinder, piston, seals, and valves is key to its efficiency. Another fascinating piece of engineering, used where a flowing water source like a spring or stream with a drop in elevation is available, is the hydraulic ram pump. This pump is a marvel of simplicity as it uses the energy of falling water to pump a smaller portion of that water to a much higher elevation, all without any external power source. Its secret lies in harnessing the water hammer effect. A ram pump has two main moving parts, a waste valve, or clack valve, and a delivery valve. Water flows from the source down a drive pipe and out through the weighted waste valve. As the flow velocity increases, it eventually slams the waste valve shut. The momentum of the water in the drive pipe, now suddenly stopped, creates a high-pressure surge. This surge forces open the delivery valve, pushing a small amount of water into an air chamber and up the delivery pipe to the destination. The pressure drop caused by this action allows the waste valve to reopen, and the cycle repeats, often once or twice a second, creating a distinctive rhythmic beat. The air chamber is crucial as it cushions the shock and helps create a more even flow up the delivery pipe. While not efficient in terms of water volume, for continuous, powerless water delivery to a higher point, it's an incredibly clever and reliable device. Of course, hand pumps are also prevalent, especially for shallower wells or as backups. These operate on the same piston principle as windmill-driven pumps, but are actuated by human effort via a lever handle, which provides mechanical advantage to make the lifting easier. Different designs exist, like the common pitcher pump for shallow wells, or deep well hand pumps that can lift water from greater depths. Materials used in these pumps, such as cast iron for pump bodies, brass for cylinders and valves, and stainless steel for rods, are chosen for their corrosion resistance and durability. Leather, for its sealing properties and ability to swell when wet, has been a traditional choice for piston seals, though modern materials are also incorporated. The engineering of these systems extends beyond individual components to their integration and maintenance. Windmills are typically sited to take advantage of prevailing winds and are connected to pumps that are appropriately sized for the well's depth and the farm's water needs. Often, water is pumped into a large, elevated storage tank. This tank then provides a ready supply of water distributed by gravity to the farmhouse, barn, and fields, ensuring water is available even when the wind isn't blowing. Maintenance is a continuous and understood part of owning these systems. Amish farmers often possess considerable mechanical aptitude, passed down through generations. They understand the workings of their windmills and pumps intimately. Regular tasks include oiling the windmill gearbox, checking and replacing pump leathers or seals, and ensuring all moving parts are functioning correctly. This hands-on approach to maintenance is fundamental to their self-sufficiency and the long operational life of these machines. In an age of smart technology and complex electronics, the enduring presence of these mechanical marvels on Amish farms speaks volumes. The secrets of their engineering aren't about cutting-edge discoveries, but about time-tested principles of physics, robust design, durable materials, and a focus on repairability and sustainability. These windmills and water pumps are reliable workhorses that function independently of external power grids, aligning perfectly with the Amish commitment to a self-reliant and plain way of life. They are a reminder that sometimes the most effective engineering is that which is simple, understandable, and built to last, powered by the free and abundant forces of nature. In an era dominated by high-powered machinery and digital tools, a small, traditional community continues to defy the norms. The Amish, known for their distinctive lifestyle, the Amish live without electricity from public utility lines, without cars, and without most modern technologies. But what truly amazes outsiders is how they manage to build entire homes, sometimes in a single day, without using power tools. The Amish are a group of traditionalist Christian church fellowships with Swiss German Anabaptist origins. Most Amish communities are located in the United States, primarily in Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Indiana. They live by a code of conduct known as the Ordinum, which guides daily life, clothing, technology use, and social practices. While there are differences between communities, most Old Order Amish prohibit the use of electricity from the grid and internal combustion engines. This restriction shapes every aspect of their lives, especially how they build their homes. One of the most distinctive aspects of Amish construction is the absence of electricity. Amish builders do not plug in electric drills, circular saws, or air compressors. Yet their homes are built to last, often exceeding the quality of modern construction. To understand how they manage this, it's essential to explore their tools, techniques, materials, and methods. An Amish house building project is never a solo effort. Community involvement is a core aspect of the process. When a family needs a home, neighbors, relatives, and church members all come together. This practice is best exemplified in the tradition of the barn raising, where entire structures are erected in a single day through group labor. The same collaborative spirit applies to house construction. Roles are assigned in advance. Carpenters, roofers, framers, cooks. Everyone contributes according to skill or need. Amish construction reflects their values: simplicity, humility, and mutual aid. The first phase of Amish house construction is site preparation. This includes clearing the land, leveling the ground, and setting a solid foundation. For excavation and concrete work, some Amish communities may hire non-Amish contractors with powered equipment. Others use horse-drawn equipment or pneumatic tools, powered by off-grid air compressors. Foundations are typically poured concrete or concrete block. In colder climates, basements are common and must be insulated and waterproofed by hand. Once the foundation cures, the main building can begin. Framing is one of the most labor-intensive stages of building a house, and the Amish do it entirely without electric tools. They use hand saws, mallets, braces, augers, chisels, and framing squares. In some communities, pneumatic nail guns are powered by diesel or gas air compressors mounted on wagons, a permitted workaround under the ordinance. Lumber is pre-measured and marked by hand. Every board is placed carefully using levels, string lines, and plumb bobs. This attention to precision ensures that the structure is sound. Within a day or two, walls are raised, floor joists are in place, and the roof begins to take shape. Installing a roof is a dangerous job, and the Amish rely on teamwork and timing. Once the trusses or rafters are installed, they move quickly to lay down sheathing, tar paper, and shingles. Hand-driven hammers are often used, although pneumatic roofing nailers are common in some districts. Metal roofing panels are also popular due to their longevity and fire resistance. These are cut using manual shears or off-grid power tools operated by air or gas. Because of the scale and complexity, dozens of men may be involved in a single roofing job, finishing it in hours. Doors and windows are often built by Amish craftsmen or purchased from suppliers who adhere to Amish standards. These are installed using chisels, hand planes, and manual drills. For siding, Amish homes frequently use natural wood boards, applied with precision and uniform spacing. In colder regions, clapboard or board and batten, siding helps insulate against the elements. All finishing work, from painting to caulking, is done manually. Brushes, not sprayers. Ladders, not lifts. Simplicity is not just preferred, it is required. Inside the home, Amish carpenters handle all framing, drywall, flooring, and cabinetry using hand tools or non-electric machines. Cabinets, for example, are built from scratch using dovetail joints and mortise and tenon construction. These techniques create strong, long-lasting joints without nails or screws. Hardwood floors are laid piece by piece, sanded manually, and finished with oil-based stains. Walls are usually painted in light, neutral colors to reflect available daylight, since electric lighting is not installed. If wiring or plumbing is required, for example, in more progressive Amish groups, it is installed discreetly and often powered by off-grid solutions like propane, solar, or battery systems. Because there is no central electric heating, most Amish homes rely on wood-burning stoves or propane heaters. Chimneys and stovepipes are installed during the framing phase, using fire-rated materials and insulation. Lighting is provided by kerosene lamps, gas lights, or increasingly, battery-powered LED fixtures. Skylights and large windows are also essential, maximizing natural daylight. The absence of electric HVAC systems means insulation must be meticulous. Double walls, tight seals, and thermal barriers are common in colder regions. The furniture inside an Amish-built house is often made by the family or a local craftsman. Each piece is constructed using hardwood and traditional joinery. Fixtures such as sinks and tubs may resemble those in English homes, but the plumbing is minimal and designed for water efficiency. Most homes do not have washing machines, dishwashers, or microwaves. Instead, they rely on manual methods. Clothes are washed by hand or with mechanical wringers and dried outside. Kitchens feature gas or wood-burning stoves, with no electrical appliances. Amish homes are models of energy independence because they use almost none. The speed at which Amish homes are built is often surprising. With pre-cut lumber, detailed planning, and many hands, a full house can be framed and roofed within 1 or 2 days. The entire home, from foundation to finishes, may be completed in less than 2 months. Their speed is not due to cutting corners, but from sheer manpower and discipline. Everyone knows their task. There are no delays from permits, inspections, or subcontractors. Efficiency is achieved through repetition, coordination, and experience. It's important to understand that not all Amish communities follow the same rules. Some allow limited technology, such as hydraulic lifts, solar panels, or propane-powered refrigeration. Others reject any powered devices beyond hand tools. New Order Amish may use telephones, electricity from generators, or even computer-based bookkeeping in their businesses. However, homes remain low-tech. When it comes to building, the degree of permitted technology varies, but the core principle remains: simplicity, self-reliance, and separation from the world. The Amish rely on an impressive array of manual tools: hand saws for cutting lumber, braces and bits for boring holes, chisels and gouges for fine joinery, mallets and hammers for assembly, levels, squares, and plumb lines for precision. In communities that permit it, compressed air systems are used to power nail guns and drills. These compressors are operated by diesel or propane engines, not electric motors. Workshops are often powered by belt-driven machines run by small engines or by hydraulic systems connected to wind or water power. Their tool mastery is both practical and artistic. The Amish build without power tools because it aligns with their beliefs. Their way of life emphasizes humility, labor, and detachment from worldly conveniences. Building by hand fosters patience, cooperation, and craftsmanship. It also ensures that homes are made to be lived in for generations, not just decades. By avoiding the speed and ease of technology, they preserve skills that are nearly extinct in modern society. Their buildings are not just shelters, they are expressions of faith, community, and continuity. The Amish construction process teaches several universal lessons. Community is more powerful than machinery. Quality craftsmanship requires time and care. Simplicity can lead to durability and beauty. Manual tools, when mastered, can rival modern power tools. Independence from the grid is possible and sustainable. As interest in sustainable building and off-grid living grows, more people are looking to the Amish for inspiration. They show what's possible when tradition is combined with purpose. Amish communities in North America live by strict rules that shape nearly every aspect of life, including transportation. While mainstream Americans embrace the automobile's speed and convenience, the Amish deliberately reject car ownership as a community-wide principle. This policy is rooted not in a belief that cars are evil, but in a desire to preserve traditional community ties and a humble, slow-paced lifestyle. As one Amish leader candidly put it, owning a car will lead us to where we don't want to go, pulling families apart and weakening local church communities. In practice, no Amish church allows baptized members to own or drive a car or hold a driver's license. Instead, Amish people rely on a range of alternative transportation methods that keep them connected to their rural congregations. The Amish avoid automobiles primarily to protect their close-knit community life. Cars bring mobility and speed that the Amish fear could fragment their society. As one Amish publication explained, the free use of cars pulls families apart, making it too easy to travel into cities and detach from local churches. Similarly, an Amish leader argued that cars are luxury and status symbols of style and convenience that ruin tightly woven communities, tempt people with worldly distractions, and introduce new moral risks by enabling travel away from home. In practical terms, cars promise individual freedom, but threaten the Amish ideal of equality, face-to-face neighborliness, and rural family life. The Amish believe that unrestricted car travel would erode local bonds. By staying in the neighborhood, Amish families can care for each other, hold weekly church and social visits, and build trust. By bringing greater mobility, cars would pull the community apart, eroding local ties, writes one Amish studies expert. Cars are seen as fostering pride and vanity. Amish doctrine warns that letting people chase status through vehicles would undermine the community's values. Instead of fast, individual travel, Amish prefer slow, shared movement. Fast vehicles introduce safety and moral concerns. Some Amish leaders argue that moral temptations increase in direct relation to speed, and that cars' high speed is inherently dangerous. Avoiding cars also means staying in environments where travel is deliberate and low speed, which reduces certain risks. Refusing cars is a defining symbol of Amish identity. One commentator observed, "When people leave the Amish, the first thing they do is buy a car." By contrast, horse and buggy travel reinforces their distinct way of life. This mindset is reflected in Amish church rules, the Ordnung. All Old Order Amish affiliations ban members from owning or operating any motor vehicle, and even forbid getting a driver's license for personal use. In some of the more progressive Amish communities, notably the New Order Amish. Teenage boys during Rumspringa, an adolescent wandering period, may temporarily own a car, but they must sell or stop using it upon baptism into the church. In extremely rare cases, an Amish person might be granted a license for a specific work need, for example, to drive a truck for a non-Amish employer. But such exceptions are unusual. Despite the car ban, Amish do allow certain forms of motorized transport in controlled ways. Tractors, farm machinery, and power tools are generally allowed only when tethered to work. For example, a tractor stays on the farm. Even riding lawnmowers or combines are discouraged except in the barnyard. Likewise, batteries for small devices, like buggy lights or cash registers, are permitted, as long as they are owning use, not tied to public electric grids. These selective uses of technology illustrate the Amish emphasis on mastering, not being mastered by, modern conveniences. The horse and buggy is the image most people have of the Amish, and it remains the principal way most Amish get around locally. Horses and buggies are the main means of transportation by the Amish, notes a Pennsylvania news report. Each Amish family typically owns one or more buggies. Fathers use them for farm and errands, and when teenage sons come of age, around 16, they often receive their own buggy for travel and courtship. Families also use buggies for Sunday church trips and communal events, especially when several members travel together. Amish horse-drawn buggies on a rural country road, with safety reflectors, triangles, and lights to meet highway regulations. Over many states, buggies must display slow-moving vehicle triangles, lights, or reflectors, so they are visible to traffic. Local laws have evolved. For example, a 2023 Virginia bill now requires a white light in front and red light in back on all animal-drawn vehicles. Nevertheless, these horse-drawn vehicles travel at walking speeds, keeping Amish residents close to their home communities. Buggies usually cover only short distances, often less than 10 miles round trip. If an errand or family visit is farther out, an Amish person might need to schedule alternate transportation in advance. In essence, the buggy enforces a slow pace of life. Trips are planned with care, not spur-of-the-moment highway drives. Buggy styles can vary. Closed-top black buggies are classic, but some Amish use open carriages or lighter carts, especially for children or quick errands. Color and features differ by church district. One group might use all black buggies, another yellow or gray. In every case, the buggy is engineered simply for function. No radio, heater, or technological frills are allowed, just horsepower. Beyond the horse-drawn buggy, Amish use various low-tech alternatives. For very short trips within a village or farmyard, Amish rely on their own feet. Walking is completely normal for distances too short to bother hitching a horse or saddling a bicycle. This echoes mainstream rural life of the 19th century. Many Amish communities allow bicycles as a convenient form of transport. Some regions, like Holmes County, Ohio, have a high concentration of bicycle use, while others, such as Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, use them less. Interestingly, in places where bicycles were historically viewed as too fast, Amish have long favored push scooters, basically foot-powered carts, because they require more exertion and travel more slowly than a bike. Today, both plain and motorized two-wheelers serve many Amish. Electric bicycles, e-bikes, are gaining popularity in several communities, since they cover ground faster than a horse or an old push scooter. For example, recent reports note that some Amish communities are adopting electric bicycles, e-bikes, for quick and efficient travel. By using battery assist, these e-bikes stay within the realm of modest technology, batteries, not public power, yet allow people to travel farther or tackle hills more easily. In addition to the classic buggy, Amish families may use lighter pony carts or wagons. Young children often ride in small carts, and families might use a farm wagon when moving goods. These are still horse-drawn and purely mechanical, fitting Amish norms. Most Amish are farmers or craftsmen. They do use some motorized machinery, but usually only on their own property. A tractor might power a sawmill or plow a field, but the same tractor normally cannot drive to town. Some communities permit tractors with steel wheels or no rubber tires to go to the barn, but not an all-purpose pickup. In practice, almost no Amish habitually ride tractors on public roads, precisely to avoid blurring the line between work equipment and personal transport. In some, Amish methods of moving around are designed to minimize technology's reach. Most daily travel is by animal power or muscle power. These methods keep people close and keep life simple. If Amish people cannot drive themselves, how do they travel beyond horse and buggy range? In practice, they frequently ride as passengers in motor vehicles driven by non-Amish people, often called English. This is explicitly allowed in most Amish affiliations. Members may ride in hired or borrowed vehicles, even though they won't own them. Families often pay a local driver to transport them for errands that exceed buggy distance, such as a 2-hour doctor's appointment or an out-of-state wedding. These drivers, sometimes called Amish taxi drivers, might use a van or large SUV, and are often licensed to transport passengers. Amish customers arrange rides by phone days in advance. In fact, one Pennsylvania newspaper describes Amish taxi service as a rural Uber designed for long trips, with licensed drivers transporting Amish clients between states or to emergencies. Lancaster County alone had about 99 licensed Amish taxi drivers as of 2019. Not all communities embrace hired drivers equally. Some of the most conservative Amish forbid any car hire except in emergencies, choosing instead to use their buggies or public transit when possible. In general, though, paying for a ride is commonplace. Amish families may arrange that a non-Amish friend or worker drives them, or hire professional drivers. For group travel, large families, or church outings, it is common to rent a 12 or 15-passenger van. The entire family can pile into a van and go on vacation or to visit relatives, with a hired driver at the wheel. These vans are in effect the Amish solution to the large family size. They may be gas-guzzling and harder to drive, but they allow everyone, children and luggage, to travel together in one vehicle. Finally, public transportation plays a role. Trains and buses have historically been uncontroversial for the Amish because they are not about personal ownership. As one scholar notes, early 20th century public transit, ships, trolleys, trains, generated no controversy within Amish society. Today, many Amish continue to use trains and commercial buses for long-distance travel. For example, Amish might ride an Amtrak train to New York or Chicago, or take a Greyhound bus on cross-country trips. In Pennsylvania and Ohio, specially arranged coaches regularly shuttle Amish travelers to the large winter community in Pinecraft, Florida. Even air travel is not entirely forbidden, although most Amish shun airplanes as extravagant indeed. In an Amish FAQ, air travel is described as considered extravagant and worldly. Some Amish, notably certain New Order Amish, do occasionally fly if needed. In all these cases, the key is that the Amish person is riding along, not personally owning the vehicle. One Ohio Amish tourism guide explains, the philosophy is that while owning a car might separate the community, the Amish will accept rides, or even pay for them, to meet various transportation needs, such as travel to outside employment or for medical attention. By contrast, in mainstream North American life, the private automobile is taken for granted. Most American families own cars, drive to work and shopping every day, and plan social life around convenient auto travel. U.S. highways are designed for fast long-distance travel, and owning a car is seen as almost a necessity outside major cities. Americans love their cars for power, speed, and flexibility. The NPR excerpt notes that 20th century Americans fell in love with the car, with its power, speed, convenience, and control. By comparison, an Amish buggy with a horse averages only a few miles per hour. Amish plan travel very differently. A trip that might take 20 minutes by car could take an hour by buggy or require calling a driver for transport. Commuting by horse can be physically demanding and weather dependent, unlike clicking through traffic at 60 miles per hour. Because of these differences, travel norms in Amish country stand out. On rural roads, you'll see buggies and bicycles sharing space with pickup trucks and SUVs. In fact, Amish country safety initiatives, like requiring lights on buggies, reflect the tension between these worlds. Amish transportation habits also shape community layout. Amish settlements tend to be highly localized, with houses, farms, and a school within a short distance, whereas non-Amish neighbors might live miles apart by car. In short, where mainstream Americans use the car for nearly any trip, the Amish restrict motor vehicles to occasional situations and otherwise default to traditional modes. This difference can be surprising to outsiders. As the Fox News feature observes, many people believe all Amish communities are against electricity and technology for religious reasons, but that's not true for all members. Similarly, not all Amish uniformly forbid every transport technology. It's important to note that Amish is not monolithic. Old Order Amish, the largest group, adhere most strictly to the car ban. New Order Amish are only slightly more liberal. They may allow electric lighting, phone lines, or even occasional plane travel, but New Order communities still travel by horse and buggy. Beachy Amish, in contrast, are an offshoot group that often use motor vehicles freely. In fact, personal car ownership is normal for Beachy Amish. Despite the name, Beachy Amish are quite different in practice. They hold church in modern meeting houses and embrace much modern technology. Even within Old Order and New Order groups, Local rules vary. Some Ohio and Pennsylvania districts drive buggies with yellow-tinted windows, integrated lights, or bicycles. Others forbid these as too worldly. A very conservative subgroup, the Schwarzentrooper Amish, might have simpler buggies and forbid hire cars entirely, whereas a more progressive district might not only allow hiring drivers, but even permit a wired phone in the office. Geography also matters. Amish in rural Ohio or Indiana may be farther from cities, so they travel longer distances by hired van or bus than, say, an Amish village surrounded by town. Rumspringa is a notable exception. During this youth free-for-all, some Amish teens, typically ages 16 to 20, do drive cars or ride in them with peers. This is allowed by the church as a trial period of worldliness. However, if they choose to be baptized Amish, they must renounce car use entirely. Another exception is businesses. Occasionally, an Amish business will lease a car from a non-Amish friend or hire a commercial driver so that church members can travel for company errands or deliveries. Importantly, the car never becomes church property. The church still upholds the principle of not owning it. Finally, community needs can force innovation. For instance, as populations rise and farmland becomes scarce, some Amish have had to relocate to distant settlements. Long-distance travel across states is impossible by buggy, so Amish in those cases rely heavily on hired transport or mass transit to move families or attend inter-settlement events. Even in the most traditional settlements, if no public transport is available, some bishops allow riding in a car to reach a funeral or urgent appointment. But these are pragmatic accommodations, not changes in principle. The community still emphasizes that the default method remains local, non-motorized travel. In sum, the Amish ban on car ownership is a conscious communal choice aimed at safeguarding values of family, humility, and community cohesion. By contrast, mainstream society prioritizes speed and individual convenience in transportation. To achieve their goals, Amish people get around using horses, buggies, bicycles, and their own legs for short trips, and they enlist the motor age only indirectly, by riding with others or using approved public vehicles for longer journeys. These practices, horse-drawn buggies on country lanes, Amish cyclists on side streets, Amish families piling into rented vans for vacations, define Amish mobility. They may seem slow to outsiders, but they are deeply woven into how the Amish maintain their way of life. Every Amish community today navigates this balance, preserving a world without cars, yet still connecting to the wider world through careful compromises. As one Amish FAQ summarizes, the church's view is that, while owning a car might separate the community, they will accept rides to meet various transportation needs, reserving ownership for only those who have left the community. Thus, the horse-drawn buggy endures not just as quaint scenery, but as a powerful symbol of the Amish choice to live deliberately at a human pace.